Welcome to this week's episode of Live the Wildlife. Today we're going to be talking about hunting in the Northeast, the place where I live, and the place where we spend most of our time. Hope you enjoy the show. After a long winter, one of my favorite things to do is get out in the whitetail woods. I'm figuring out the strategies, what the deer are doing, have they changed from the year before. I'm going back to some familiar spots, and I also love going to new spots where I have to figure out what the deer are doing on that property. So where I live in New York, I have access to 3 states all within an hour of my home state of New York: New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Connecticut. Every one of those states has different rules. In New Jersey, baiting is allowed, and you're allowed to hunt over bait. In my home state of New York, it's not allowed. So what we try to do, especially here in New York, is get food plots in and hunt off those. Now, occasionally we have apple orchards I get to hunt off of, or some farms that I have permission on where I could possibly go and hunt. But most of our hunting is done in the deep woods, pockets of woods that are deep in, even on some of the public land where people don't come back and don't disturb you while you're hunting. We're getting some food plots in today here in my home state of New York. We picked up this property last year, didn't want to disturb it. We didn't get it till late in September. Ended up taking an incredible buck off this property, but we had no idea the buck was here. One of those deals where you're not allowed to bait or put a feed station or any kind of attract in here in my home state. We couldn't wait to this year to get it out there. Well, once we get these food plots in, we'll be able to get cameras and possibly see what else is on this property. I'm thinking if the caliber buck we took last year is here, we're gonna have a good season. One thing I love to use is tree stand buddy brackets because they're undetectable. I can set up multiple locations on a property, walk in with my stand on my back, choose one of those locations that'll work for the wind of that day, pull my stand up quickly, get it hung, and start my hunt. One of the misconceptions here in the Northeast is there's not a lot of property to hunt. Look, there are a lot of hunters, millions of hunters here in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, all the places that I hunt. But there's also a lot of land. It's just not owned by one person. I mean, the biggest thing for us is that I might hunt a 600-acre parcel of land, but it's owned by 60 different people on all small 10-acre parcels. Now, I might have permission on 1 or 2 of those 10-acre parcels. The animals are free to roam all 600 acres, but I only have permission, let's say, on 20 of them. So it's very important that we have these animals come through, not push them off the piece that we have permission on. Whenever we're setting tree stands in a new area, there's 2 things we like to determine: where the deer are bedding and what they're feeding on. Now, that'll change during the season. As the acorns and beech nuts start to drop, deer start feeding on these mass crops, their feeding patterns will change. But early in the season, these deer are usually feeding on field edges, on any agriculture that's in the area. So we like to target them coming from their bedding to feeding. You could always also do it the other way, where they're coming back from feeding, but it's really tough to get in the woods, especially early season, without being detected. So for us, it's usually an evening stand where the deer are coming from their bedding, going to the food. Once we've determined where the deer are bedding and where they're going to feed, we like to check out the wind direction. What's the dominant direction during that hunting season? Usually early in the season in this area, we have a southwest wind. That's a dominant wind here. It follows through most of the season. Occasionally we'll get that northwest or northeast wind later in the season, but early season it's usually southwest. So once we've determined the wind direction, we've checked out the topography, and some of the things that we look for is a hole in a stone wall, a drop off on a ridge where deer are going to travel on top of that ridge. They're going to come through a pinch point. Those are things I like to target. I start looking for a tree that's going to make all those things come together. Once we determine the tree we want to use for the dominant wind that's going to be in this area, we'll set our tree stand. But here in the Northeast where we live, although the tracts of land are small that we're hunting on, maybe 10, 20, 30 acres of property, there's 20 of those all attached. Now they're privately owned. The deer can move freely through all of them, but we can only hunt on the ones we have permission. So I need to utilize every square inch of this property whenever I'm hunting deer. And once we've determined multiple stand locations on a piece of property, it allows us to hunt that property in any wind conditions. When we started using the Tree Stand Buddy system, and these mounting brackets go on all the trees that we determined would be great for a stand location, I could walk into a piece of property, my tree stand on my back, have my bow, and determine that day exactly where I wanted to sit, just determine what the deer movement is, what the wind conditions are for that day, and be able to choose any one of those stand locations, easily pull my stand into place and get it set for that afternoon's hunt. By only having these tree stand brackets in the trees and not the actual stands, it really conceals our hunting locations, which is great for us here in the Northeast because we have a lot of hunters in the woods. It keeps your stand location down, and there's less chance of somebody coming by, stealing your stand. You get in that afternoon to go do your hunt, your stand is missing. I've had that happen to me before, but with these brackets, my stand is on my back and only this bracket is in the tree. Now that rope serves as an easy way to move this stand. I can take this stand down, go to my other spot, which also has a rope, hook up my stand, pull it up from the ground. If I'm alone, I don't have any trouble getting a stand reversed. You might have noticed on this tree stand setup that we use tree sticks for the first 10 feet. From that point on, I screw in tree steps. I know a lot of people don't like them, but they work real well in the Northeast, and I'll explain why. We have a lot of people pre-season and during the hunting season here in the Northeast going through the woods. The last thing I want to do is give up my stand location. So for me, because I have that rope and I can take my stand down, I then climb up, tie that rope off on the first screw-in tree step so it's out of anybody's line of sight. Take down these tree steps, and this way I know that when I come back here to hunt, I can, first of all, I could choose multiple stand setups because I have 3 brackets set up on this property alone. Set up my tree steps, climb up, get my rope, pull my stand up from the ground, place it in. I could do this all so quickly, so easily by myself. That's why the Tree Stand Buddy bracket works great for us, and it really will help anybody setting up near your stand location, and also keeps anybody, well, let's put it this way, it keeps them honest and none of your stuff will disappear. Tree Stand Buddy bracket comes with 2 ratchet straps that stay attached to the tree. But once you get your stand in place, use the strap that comes with your stand for added security. This stand is going nowhere. It was brought to my attention that, hey, you can't see you're wearing a tree harness. Well, I've been using this climbing belt for 20 years. It's the same belt. I have multiple belts, the same type, and this is what I use. I've been using it for 20 years. I always make sure that I'm tied off whenever I'm setting up a tree stand. You should do the same. One thing I love to do when I'm setting up a ground blind, first is get it in early so the deer get used to the fact that there's a structure in their woods. Then what I like to do is brush the blind in to create a 3D image. So if a deer does look at the blind, it's really difficult to pick up movement, create some shadows, and maybe some doubt. Might be the difference of me getting a shot and not getting a shot. New Jersey offers an earn a buck season where if you shoot a doe, you can then shoot your buck. And that gives you about a week-and-a-half jump on the season. So I always go in and try to get a deer down early in New Jersey.
It's opening day here in New Jersey. They have an early bow season. It's a earn a buck. You take a doe, you get your buck tag. You could start your season earlier because usually it kicks in the end of the month. But we are dealing with a full moon. We got here opening day. You know, you always have the expectations you're going to catch something going back to bedding. We did see a couple of bodies, maybe 80 yards out in the thick stuff. We really couldn't tell what it was. We're just going to sit all day today and see if something moves before dark and we can get a doe on the ground. So it didn't wind us. I'm not sure what was making her nervous, but she wasn't sticking around. That would have been a clear miss if we shot. You know, she was just coming in. She was wired walking in, so something was making her nervous. Don't know. It's the first time we're hunting here. Of a long day, 12-hour sit, waiting on the doe to come in. We've had a full moon, kind of kept the deer activity down in the morning, but again, it's opening day. Earn a buck. We got our doe down, which means we earned a buck tag. But you know, it always amazes me when I harvest an animal like this, and I know it's going to feed my family. It just never ceases to amaze me how incredible it is and how blessed I am to be able to do this. But anyway, we're gonna get her processed up and get her out of here, and great day in New Jersey. So this year was totally different. I was hunting some tree stands and I was targeting some food sources. I usually like to hunt the fringe early season, don't like to disturb my core areas. So I did see a lot of deer every day, but most of them with does with fawns. Now these fawns could live on their own. There wasn't an issue with shooting one of the does, but it's a personal thing for me. And then I kind of take it as a challenge. So now I'm just looking for that single doe, which did not happen. So I hunted for about 2 weeks and never got a shot at a single doe. I saw deer every day, just never got a shot. The earn a buck season expired in New Jersey, so opening day started in Connecticut. I shot over there to see if I can get the job done. Whenever I'm hunting whitetail, one of the most important things to me is to have the least disturbance in the area. So if I have an area where I'm targeting a buck, one of the big things is I will never shoot a doe out of that stand because I don't want to disturb the area, make all the deer aware that I'm there. So I had this spot in Connecticut and I knew there was a good buck there. And a lot of times early season, you have a good chance of shooting that deer, patterning him, knowing that he's coming to food and possibly getting a shot at him. So this is one of those deals where I'm up in a tree, coming down to last light. I'm filming myself because of COVID, so I have cameras rolling. Deer comes in, wasn't sure if he was going to give me a shot. The deer actually ends up almost under me. I make the shot, recover the deer, awesome. Got a great buck down in Connecticut. In the early season, warmer temperatures, these deer start moving a little closer to dark. I got lucky. This buck was feeding his way to me. We were up on an oak ridge, got acorns dropping right now. Always targeting food sources early in the season. He worked his way around, circled under my tree. I got the shot, and this is the result. Just an incredible, incredible deer here in the Northeast. So on this hunt, I head back to New Jersey, and although the Earn a Buck program is over and it expired, I'm still back in the stand, trying to fill the freezer, taking a nice mature doe. I finally got it done in New Jersey. I've been hunting does now for about 2 weeks, trying to get an Earn a Buck tag, and I've been seeing does. They've all had fawns. It's just a personal thing for me. Although the fawns were from last year and they'd be fine without their mother, I didn't want to shoot one unless I had a doe without any fawns. And tonight this doe came in. Their acorns are dropping everywhere. I was up on an oak ridge. She came in, picking her way through. I got the shot. It was about 20 yards. She
went a little further than I thought she would, but I got to recover in the daylight. I'll get her tagged up, processed, and onto my buck. So we donate a lot of deer to the Feed the Hungry program. We do it through a processor in town. Tony, he's an amazing processor, great guy. We also use Tony if we're traveling and don't have time to get our own deer processed, we'll drop it off at Tony. Tony's an amazing guy, you know, and he's got some incredible processing tips. So I asked Tony if he would mind sharing a few of those tips with us.
So here's the process. You went in and talked to Alice.
Yes.
She gave you a receipt. You told her how you wanted it cut.
Right.
So put that in your wallet.
Got it.
No ticky, no shirty.
Got it. I got it, man.
All right. And here's the corresponding number with your deer.
Right.
And that goes right on his hind leg right here.
Perfect.
Right here. So we know that belongs to you guys.
Perfect.
Okay. So now, what we'll do is we'll skin the animal, which we've already had. We have one skinned.
Right.
All right. So and Bill right now is actually skinning another one as we speak. Then once it's skinned, the skinned carcass is brought over here. Okay. And what we do is, first thing we do is once we have the hair out, we trim off. We try to trim the flanks off if there's any schmutzy stuff on there.
Right.
Then what we do is we take.
Yeah, I seen you guys do this once. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we take this here, Joe. You want to fire it up? Yep. Fire it up. Singe it. We singe it. We like to singe it because all those little hairs. I mean, you could buy one of these at Harbor Freight for like $30. One of these burners. And I mean, they're excellent. You just kind of go after you have the animal skin, and you just go around and go ahead, Joey. Just singe it. Singe all the hair. Like it's all those little hairs that fall off the hide when you're. Then what we do is we make up a solution of salt water and vinegar. The vinegar in the water actually is acidic, so it helps as far as bacteria. So if you take it, a wet rag, after you've singed it, you take the wet rag and you wipe it, okay? Most of your other little hairs will come off, and all the little hairs that you burned, all that burnt hair will come off. Listen, we spend months and months preparing for deer season, right? And then we spend 15 minutes, you know, on our carcass after we harvest the animal. So if you want the most yield from your animal, you know, put a little time into it. I mean, you know, hey, we're eating it.
In a country that wastes billions of pounds of food each year, it's almost shocking that anyone in America goes hungry. Yet every day, millions of children and adults do not get the meals they need to thrive. In New York, 2.2 million people are struggling with hunger. Caring outdoorsmen like Gus and game processors like Desertos proudly support the Venison Donation Coalition by providing meat to be distributed through the 8 regional food banks serving the different counties throughout New York State. For more information on how you can help fight the hunger problem in New York, visit desertosdeercutting.com.